Welcome back to my channel. My name is Juliet. In case you're new here, I'm a Pearson Test of English tutor. In today's video, I'll basically be talking about fill in the blank in the PTE listening. Now, do not get it all muddled up because I know we have reading and writing fill in the blanks and reading fill in the blanks. But today's video is going to be focused on listening fill in the blanks. This is one of the most important tasks in the listening module. Let's see how that goes. Listening fill in the blank is one of the most important tasks in the PTE listening module. Now, what is expected of you here is you're going to fill in blanks that are created by the real owners of the exam. What I mean here is I'm just going to show you a snippet of what it's like. Okay, so you see those blanks there. That is what is expected for you to fill. How will you get the words that are supposed to fill in the blank? Will it be from your head? No, this is a reading task. So you listen to an audio. While listening to the audio, you're supposed to get the right answer to the blank. That means that you can't even take your eyes off the screen of your computer, because once you do that, you will miss out what answer should be in the blank. I'm going to be showing us some examples after I finish telling you about this task, so you see how this task is being done. Now, one thing here is that remember in the PTE exam, you've been provided with an erasable notepad and with pencils. So what I will say to you is you have to practice this task before you go to exam. This is because I've met students that have told me that they type in straight into the blank, which can be a little bit confusing. I mean, those audio, they are really very fast. I don't know how easy it's going to be for you to type in the right answer to those blank. So I would always suggest you write the answers on the notepad that you're being provided with. Okay, but I've met some students that said, oh, they do very well. They type in the responses. What they need to do is immediately the audio finishes, you just go back and try to check up the answers. So that's why I said there's need for you to practice and see the style that works more for you. For me, all the times I've written this exam, I've been able to write down my answers on my notepad. I mean, that is the one that works for me. This is because I try not to take my eyes away from the computer. I have also tried practicing writing the answer straight into the blank, and I found out that I missed one or two blanks, because by the time I try to finish typing on the space provided on the sentence, it's hard for me to catch up with the audio to try to fill up the remaining blank. So what I do, I write my answers or my responses on my jotter, and then after the audio finishes playing, I immediately start transferring my answer to the blanks. So that is why you have to know what works for you, because this is what works for me. Okay, now I'm going to be sharing tips on how we're going to do this task. Let's start. Now, if you've been following my videos, especially if you're a test taker, you find out that I like talking about tips. Why? This is because these tips are meant to help you to know what to do about this task before you go into the exam. You know, there's this saying, people don't prepare their armories or their guns on the day of battle or the day of war. They would have practiced how to shoot, how to aim and all that. So that is why I share the tips. These tips is not for your exam day. These tips are for you to prepare with before you go into the exam hall. Okay, so you know how they work. So tip number one, you're being tested for spelling. Spelling is one of the big criteria which you're scored for in the PTE. I mean, what will an English exam be without spelling, without checking how good you spell or how well you spell? If you haven't seen my video on spelling, I'll link it up here, or it will be in the description box below. So you can click on that video and see how you can spell actually very confusing words. So the first thing you should know how to do is to spell. So while you write down the answers on your jotter, try to check the spelling before you hit on the next button. Now, I didn't say you should spend all day trying to do this task, but just try to find out your spellings. Check if you use I before E or E before I, or one of those kind of things before you move on to the next blank. The next tip I have here is the word you have written. Did you listen out very well? Was that word in plural form or was it in singular form? Okay, because sometimes they will say something like boys, and you wouldn't know that it was said in the plural form, and you would go ahead and write it in singular form. So that's why you need to pay attention to the audio. You can't afford to be distracted. So the next thing you need to also know, another tip I'm sharing here, is use of capital letters to start up a word. Or yeah, that's in terms of proper nouns. Yeah, and I've also done a video on proper noun. I'll link it in the description below. The use of capital letter, when they have talk about names, specific names of countries, specific names of people and all that, And also, if there's a full stop after a sentence and then there's a blank after that full stop, you're not going to start that blank with a small letter. You're going to start it with a capital letter. Now I'm going to make sure I try out some examples that will show you this kind of things, this kind of tips I'm sharing here with you. So take note of where you need to put capital letters, and take note of if it's a proper noun or it's coming after a full stop. The next tip I have here today is do not get distracted. This is a very important tip, because if you get distracted, you won't even know when the audio will read past what's supposed to be in the blank. So you have to stay focused. You don't have to think about your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your children, or all that, or your tuition fee. You have to be focused. So you just write this exam and pass it once and for all. And the next tip I want to share here is, like I've said it before and I'll keep saying it, is try to practice what works for you. Are you going to type straight into the box while the audio talks, or while the audio keeps reading, or you want to write it out on the jotter? Now, I'm not here to tell you write it out on your jotter or type it up into the box. For me, what works most for me, or what works best for me, is writing out the answers on my jotter, and then I'll transfer it quickly after the audio finishes playing. So these are the tips that you need to know for this task. Now let us go over and see some examples of this task.
You've heard about SARS, AIDS, and bird flu. Now researchers from Australia claim we're about to be hit by a new epidemic, motivational deficiency disorder. According to the British Medical Journal, 1 in 5 people are said to suffer from motivational deficiency disorder, or MODD, and most don't even know they have it. Symptoms include being unable to get out of bed in the morning, being trapped on the couch.
So here I am typing in the response I took down on my jotter, and yeah, so you can see here there's a full stop after it. So it means that whatever is going to start up in that blank should begin with a capital letter. Okay, so that's my answer. If I click on the answer now, you're going to see it. Yeah, so I have researchers here, right spelling. I've got 5 here, yeah, and I've got symptoms. You can see if I had put a small letter, which is what I will do now, you will also see that. Yeah, if I put a small s, you see that I would fail it. Okay, why? Because there's a full stop here. Because there's a full stop here after it. I remember one of the tips I gave to you says, once there's a full stop and there's a blank, whatever starts that blank, be it a proper noun or not, would begin with a capital letter. You can see this one here. This example I gave you is a typical example. If I take away that little s and put capital S, you will see that I will still get it. So this is one of the examples of how they will want you to do this. If you don't do it just this way, you're not going to get it. So practice and see what works for you.
An important question about education is then, why do some types of student achieve success easily and others struggle to do well? Well, one theory is that there's a genetic reason for academic achievement. What I mean by that is a certain innate, measurable level of intelligence. Another frequently discussed theory is environmental factors, such as the effect of home and family upbringing. A final reason is related to the teaching and learning process within educational institutions, and the way it is organised, administered, and assessed.
Alright, so for this one, I was able to just type in directly into the blank. So you see I'm also making progress, okay? Because this one, the blanks were a bit far apart from each other. So it was easy for me to listen and type at the same time. So like I said, throughout the course of this video, if you just need to find out what works for you, if you're going to type in straight into the blank or you're going to write it out on your jotter. So whichever one you do, you will not be wrong, but just practice it before you go into the exam. Now look at this. I got the answers to this one. So there was no proper noun here. Everything here was in small letter. Yeah, so this is another example I have just shown you. So that means that this task is not a difficult task. The only thing that might be a challenge might be spelling, but like I said, you can just check my other video on spelling and it will help you know how to spell words. Thank you so much guys for tuning in. These are some of the examples I have shown just to prove that these tips I have shared with you, they really work, and that is how you're supposed to go about this task. Remember to follow me on Instagram at English_prep-class and on Facebook at English-prep-class. I'll see you again in my next video. Bye.